Hello and welcome. So in today's video, we're going to be going over how I took this ecom store's pop-up opt-in rate from just 1.27% to 9.10% in just 4 weeks, resulting in generating over $15,000. So I'm going to be breaking down how exactly I did this and how you can do the same for your store as well. So let's get into it. So the problem, low opt-in rates hurting revenue growth. So this ecom store was facing a significant challenge, low opt-in rates from their pop-up, resulting in a limited email list and ultimately hindering revenue growth. So if you think about the email list as being worth a dollar amount for every person on there, if we can just double that email list, opt-in rate, we can significantly just double your email revenue without even have to do really too much. So, they're missing out on valuable leads and opportunities to nurture customer relationships and, drive repeat sales. They're just having very limited opt-in rates. It's not maximizing their ad spend with their ads. So, bringing in as much traffic as you can to the website, but not turning them into email subscribers as well. So, what's an optimal opt-in rate? And we can look at Klaviyo's website here and, pop-ups and fly-ups to be about 3% or higher. So well below the standard of, 3%, 1.2% is quite low. So, ideally we want to be 8% or, higher, but, we weren't even that with this particular pop-up. It was, well below the industry standard. So lifetime revenue was only 2.4K and like I said, 1.27 submit rate. So the approach, the opt-in multiplier system. So we focus, on getting, targeting, experimenting and incentives, and most importantly, keeping things simple. Pop-up forms don't have to be complicated, but as long as you're keeping things simple, focusing on the discount or the incentive in some way, and, really iterating, testing, you're going to do fine. So let's analyze the first or the existing pop-up experience. That's the first step. I went through and just had a look at the original form and see what we could, what's doing wrong exactly and what we can improve on. So the original form was tiny, only displayed on the corner of the page, and it had a time delay of 30 seconds. So when you opened the website, it would pop up in the bottom right-hand corner, and there's a 30-second delay time. So things to note here. Offer is not clear and in very small text. I can barely even see this here. Was made in the same for both desktop and mobile, resulting in poor and clunky formatting. So we want to be optimizing for both, especially mobile, because that's where most of our traffic is going to be coming from. So having the same parameters on both mobile and desktop made this just look really bad on both. So, and the time delay of 30 seconds is just way too long. Because people are already going to be out of your website by then, most likely. So step 2, optimize the pop-up for better targeting and design. Key factors: time delay of 4 to 6 seconds after opening the page, having both desktop and mobile versions separate to fit dimensions best on each device. So making sure we actually optimize for both desktop and mobile. Focusing on the offer, making it clear while keeping things simple, adding a micro commit and showing the discount on the success page. So I'm going to get that in a second. So first step, we added micro commit. So instead of, straight away, putting it in their face, we're going to add a bit of a micro commit, making them commit to getting the 10% off in the first place. So, do you want 10% off your first order? And then this way they have to actually click to get 10% off. And we've actually got rid of the exit button and put it as another button here to say no thanks. A bit of a psychological trigger. So that was the first step, adding this micro commit. And as you can see, we're focusing on the discount. It's in big. That's the first thing they notice. Do you want 10% off? Bam, it's not hidden anywhere, and it displays after 4 to 6 seconds. Obviously, when they click that, they'll get the unlock, enter your email, get 10% off. So very clear. It pop-ups after 4 to 6 seconds. You can test this and getting rid of the buttons and making people commit to that. So making it very clear. Now, the third step is actually giving them the discount code on the success page. So instead of having them make, to open the email for the welcome email, we're going to give it to them straight up, because, see, a lot of people will say, you want to obviously train people to open your emails. That is true, but ultimately our goal is to get sales, right? So if we pop the discount straight there, they can automatically just get there straight away. It removes any friction of having to go to their email and get the code or whatever. So obviously that this is, the approach that I use in this case anyway. So giving them the discount code straight up. So just from this, it got to 4.97% just from these changes. But I knew I could get more results with some simple changes. So results after 1 week, $2,000. So well over the lifetime, or just as much as the lifetime as the old pop-up form, and we're nearly at 5%. So from there, we had to experiment with incentives and messaging. So from here, we tested new offers. So this brand's minimum order spend was $200. So instead of offering 10% off, I put the offer as get $20 off. So same offer, just easier to visualize in people's mind. Obviously, 10% sounds good, but getting $20 off is a lot easier to, evaluate in your mind, and it's a lot more sexy. So we just changed it to unlock 20% off your first order instead. So after 2 weeks of new form and change offer, this is mobile only, we had, close to 7% submit rate. And then after 3 weeks, we got up to 8% just from, the mobile only, and, $4,000 or just from that week anyway. And after 4 weeks, we got over to 9%. And, the result, 9.10% opt-in rate and over $15,000 from that whole month. So, you can see just from the last 7 days, from that last week, it generated like $6,000. So very impressive results. And it is trending to go even higher in the next coming weeks. So revenue of both desktop and mobile versions. So $14,000 on mobile and just over $1,000 or nearly $1,500 on desktop. So you see that mobile is the main sort of driving traffic for, people, ads for the most case for this store in particular, but yeah, desktop is going to be not as popular as mobile, as you can see. So key takeaways and next steps. So, from analyzing and experimenting, I successfully transformed this e-commerce store's opt-in rate just from keeping things simple and like we talked about. Moving forward, I would just recommend just testing new things. So testing different opt-in times, like time delay, testing different offers, copy, whatever it may be, because this might work for now, but as things go on, things might change. So we have to test and iterate, and that's the whole takeaway next step. So, that's the whole opt-in multiply strategy, as you can see. So if you want results like this for your store, just DM me the word pop-up to book a free strategy call. We'll go over, see what your pop-up form's doing right now, see what we can, evaluate, and see how we can make things better for your store as well. That's how I got the results for this e-com store. Like I said, the pop-up form is one of the most important aspects of your email marketing strategy. We really want to be maximizing that ad spend and converting as many people to email subscribers. So like I said, we can achieve great results with just simple changes and really focusing on iterating, and like how I showed you in my pop-up multiply strategy. So yeah, if you want results like this, or you just want to talk about how, more things about email marketing, DM me the word pop-up and we can book a free strategy call. I appreciate you tuning into this video, and I'll see you guys next time.